Welcome to Solutions Studio. This is a free series on C programming language. If you like these videos, please subscribe to follow along with this series. Also, please like and leave a comment and share the video to help spread this series. Hello and welcome to this episode, and in this episode we discuss about preprocessors. So preprocessors in C programming language, they are being executed before each program compiles. So each one of these hashtag that you see, that sometimes it is hashtag include or hashtag something else, these are preprocessors, and they are being processed before a program is compiled, and they do a few extra steps before compiling a program. These steps could be that the preprocessor, it includes other files into the file being compiled. So this file I'm compiling and I want to include some code from other files, then I can use the preprocessor, such as we always do this, and we include the code from stdio.h. This is basically another file in C library that we are including in our own program, and we use the functions from this header. And this is basically including other files into the file that we want to compile. We can also define symbolic constant and macros, and we have done this in the previous episodes too, so you might remember. For example, we have defined constants such as pi, and we have given it a value of 3.14, and this is how we define constants. We can also conditionally compile program code. So such as this preprocessor that you can see in here, pragma-pack1, this is being used for padding in our program. And for example, if we have a structure in the program that we are using these line of codes, we can tell the compiler whether to include padding for this structure or not. But if you don't understand the concept of padding at this moment, it's fine. I just wanted to give you an example on how we conditionally compile program codes using preprocessors, and we also conditionally execute preprocessor directives. And this is an example of conditionally executing preprocessor directives. We can create if conditions for the preprocessors to be executed under a certain condition that is going to be expressed in here. And this is basically just a small example of how the conditional execute of a preprocessor directive works. Stay tuned as we cover each one of these concepts about preprocessors in the coming episodes. Hello and welcome to this episode, and in this episode we discuss about the hashtag include preprocessor directive. So basically, whenever we are adding a hashtag include and then the name of a file, that means that this hashtag include is going to be replaced with the content of that file during compilation time. So literally this line of code is going to be replaced with the code that exists in this file name or header. So whenever we are adding an stdio.h in here, all of the content of stdio.h header is going to be pasted instead of this line of code in this file whenever this file is being compiled. And that's how the include a preprocessor directive works. And there is two ways that we use the include preprocessor directive. One way is that we define the file that we want to include using these two symbols, and one way is that we use the file name with a quotation mark. And the difference is that whenever we are using this angle brackets, that means that C will try to find that file in the specific system folders. So there's a specific folders for the compilers that it knows to check, because it knows that we are trying to import a standard library header, and those standard library headers are usually stored somewhere in a system folder, and those are machine dependent and system dependent. And usually if we are using a quotation mark for the file name, that means that that file exists in the same folder as the file that we are trying to compile. And if the compiler cannot find the file that we have specified in the same folder as the file, then it will also look at those system folders that usually the standard library headers are located. Now let's go and see an example about this topic. Now this is an example of including another file using the include preprocessor. For example, you can see in here that I have created a structure of student and I have created an object of my student using this data structure. But where is this data structure? Let's go and execute this program. And as you can see, this program executed successfully without any error, even though this struct is not to be seen anywhere in this file. Well, this struct is located in this file, and we have included this file using the preprocessor directive. Now, if we go to this file, you can see that the student structure is being defined in here. And we have included this file in our main file, and that's why we are able to create an object of that structures. And that's it for this episode. I hope this has been informative for you, and I would like to see you in the coming episodes. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome to this episode, and in this episode we discuss about the hashtag define preprocessor directives. And using this directive we can do two things. We can create symbolic constants, the constants that are represented as identifiers, and we can also create macros. Macros are basically operations that are defined as symbols. So in this episode we're going to talk about symbolic constants and how we can create symbolic constants using the hashtag define preprocessor directive. Now let's go and see the example in here. Here you can see that using the hashtag define preprocessor directive, I have created a symbolic constant pi, and the value of this pi is equal to 3.14159. So basically, every time if I want to use this number in my program, I can basically write pi instead. And during a compilation, the value of this constant is going to be replaced with this value that is defined in here. So now you can see that in the main function, when I'm trying to print the value of pi, which has been defined in here, when the program executes, this pi is going to be replaced by this number. Now let's go and check that. And as you can see in here, I got the exact same value that I had defined using the preprocessor directive. And that's how we can define a symbolic constant using the define preprocessor directive. Also, there's a few things that you need to make sure that you don't make a mistake. For example, don't put an equal in here. So if you put an equal, pi is equal to 3.14159, this will result into an error. Let's go and run this program. And as you can see, we've got an error because the define preprocessor assumes that this is a string. So it assumes this as a string. So always make sure that you do not have an equal sign in here. Rather, it's just the constant name and directly the value. You can also create constants, not just using the define preprocessor, but inside of the program as well. For example, you can create a constant using the const keyword, then the data type double, then the name pi, and then the value that you want to provide, 1, 4, 1, 5, 9, etc, etc. And this is the second way that you can create constants in your program. And that's it for this episode. I hope this has been informative for you, and I would like to see you in the coming episodes. Stay tuned.